All right, what's up, guys? Sanch here, and welcome back to another episode of Bodybuilding News Today, episode 23. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk about the NPC Worldwide European Championships, aka the IFBB Pro Spain. So if you guys are interested, definitely make sure you guys stay tuned. So I'm going to first off give credit where credit is due. Instagram.com/NPC European is probably the best representation of what an Instagram page for an IFBB show or a NPC level show should do. They are posting pictures, confirmations of their athletes far in advance from the show to help build hype for the show. If you guys are new to this channel, one of my biggest issues, one of my biggest struggles with covering bodybuilding content like I do is I don't know 100% who is going to be competing, and sometimes the whispers can prove to be not as accurate as I wish they could be. But NPC European is doing a fantastic job with announcing some of the competitors that are going to be competing at the show. Obviously, they can't tell you 100% because they don't know 100%. Athletes can jump into a show almost day of, just a few days before of a show, so they're doing their best that they can, and I really do appreciate what they're doing for the sport. Now let's get right into the big names that are going to be competing in the open class for the IFBB Spain Pro, aka the European Championship or the Europa Pro, or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of names for it, but let's get right into the number one. And by far one of the most anticipated appearances for bodybuilding this year is going to be Big Ramy. Now, obviously, Big Ramy is a absolutely phenomenal bodybuilder, perennial top 5 at the Olympia, top 10, always in the first call out when it comes to any form of a show. He's usually always in the top call out. One of the biggest, if not the biggest bodybuilder on stage, who is also a successful pro bodybuilder. Now, there's been a lot of talk with exactly which show Big Ramy was going to be doing, and it was confirmed on his sponsor's YouTube page, Dragon Pharma, which is like the cheap man's Redcon one, pretty much. And they were posting a video talking about, which show is Big Ramy going to be doing, and they hinted at it being X number of weeks out from his show, and that is obviously going to be the Europa Pro, aka the European Championships. So I am, for the most part, I'm pretty excited to see Big Ramy. He's absolutely massive, and he is a big name in the sport, so it's going to bring a lot of hype and hopefully a lot of sales for. And hopefully if they're selling tickets in person, hopefully that also brings more people to the box office. Next on the list is James Hollingshead, or Hollingshead, however you want to pronounce it. Probably one of my favorite bodybuilders right now. He is a very common featured athlete on Fuad Abiad's Real Bodybuilding podcast. If you guys don't know what that is, definitely go and check it out. It's absolutely fantastic. But James has a beautiful physique, very big and full. He seems to bring decent conditioning to most of the shows that he comes to. And I think that with him switching to Patrick Tour as his new coach, I think that there's a lot of possibility for him to maybe win this show. Definitely, I don't see him out of the top 3 unless somebody really shocks us with some grainy conditioning. I definitely see James Hollingshead in the top 3 at the Europa Pro this year. And next, another one of my absolute favorite physiques in the pro circuit overall is going to be Raphael Brandeo. Now, if you do not know, I did a video when he competed in the Brazil Pro last year and got second. Absolutely fantastic athlete, beautiful physique, and I am definitely excited to be seeing him on the Europa stage. Now, he is probably one of the nicest physiques, the prettiest, probably one of the prettiest physiques in the pro circuit right now. He definitely has put on quite a bit of size since everyone was critiquing him for not being big enough for the pro circuit. A lot of people were saying that Raphael is more of a classic physique bodybuilder, but it looks like he has taken those criticisms and partnered up with Flex Lewis, among others, to really put on a lot of muscle and also improving his conditioning coming into this 2020 season. So definitely keep an eye out for Raphael Brandeo. I do not see him falling outside the top 5. Another athlete, a recent ad is going to be Lucas Oslodill. Now, if you guys do not know who Lucas Oslodill, he competed at the Tampa Pro last year and did very well. And I was actually looking forward to him stepping on stage this year at the 2020 Tampa Pro. Unfortunately, with the COVID restrictions, he was unable to compete at this year's 2020 Tampa Pro. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him competing at this year's EUROPA Pro. Now, Lucas is definitely going to be a first call-out athlete. He has really earned the title of being one of the best conditioned athletes, especially when it comes to his glutes. I don't know if anyone calls him the glute man, but he has probably some of the best developed and striated glute muscles in the open circuit today. So definitely keep an eye out for Lucas Oslodill. Pretty much with this entire lineup, I really don't see Lucas Oslodill falling outside of the first call out at the EUROPA Pro. Another big athlete name, Regan Grimes. Now Regan Grimes is a Canadian bodybuilder, mostly known for his online presence on Instagram, but he also is a fantastic bodybuilder. I remember when I was first getting into the sport and watching it, Regan Grimes went over to Kuwait and was part of the camel crew training over there. Unfortunately, that didn't work out as well as some of us hoped, and he ended up coming home. But it does look like he has gotten back on the train, and it looks like he's made some serious improvements. It looks like he's still big. The last time we saw Regan Grimes, I believe, was at the Japan Pro, where he placed in the top 3 along with Cedric McMillan. Now, I think one of the biggest critiques with Regan Grimes is that his muscle is very... Some people will say that he has a soft physique. He doesn't really bring grainy conditioning. And I think the term grainy conditioning has been thrown around a little bit too loosely in the pro circuit nowadays. A lot of people have said that BIG RAMY does not have good conditioning, when really, if you look at it, he has amazing conditioning. He looks very separated. He has very visible abs and striation marks on the chest and the shoulders. I mean, he is a very conditioned bodybuilder, and Regan Grimes also is a very conditioned bodybuilder, and he looks very big and full and conditioned. The thing is, a lot of people, including myself, we like to see the crazy grainy Munzer level, Frank Zane level conditioning. And unfortunately, in today's bodybuilding, with the supplements and the injections and whatnot that people are using, sometimes it really shadows the muscle fibers. Whereas you look at a person like Frank Zane, who didn't exactly have to take a lot of supplements in his career, he could really have that nice grainy conditioning that you would see on a natural stage. But regardless, I do see Regan Grimes cracking into this first call out, hands down, unless he just absolutely blows up and it comes in very watery, which I do not expect, but it is possible. So I am safely going to put Regan Grimes at the middle to lower of the first call out at this year's 2020 EUROPA Pro. I feel like I just keep saying and another big name, but Samson Dauda, who is a sponsored hostile athlete recently. Recently, he competed at the Korea Pro and placed second out of 4th, but, you know, it is what it is. He still got second. You know, I'm going to give respect to where respect is earned, not always due, but earned, especially in his circumstance. And Samson is coming off of an amazing prep going into Korea, and hopefully we're going to be getting to see a much more conditioned package. Hopefully the lighting here at the EUROPA Pro is going to be much better than the Korean Pro. When you look at the footage and the pictures of the Korea Pro, it was very dark, very interesting, keeping in mind that it was in like a random warehouse in the middle of Korea, so it really wasn't a a well-known stage or something where they're used to having athletes there. It was a very interesting situation, and unfortunately, it didn't turn out very well in the terms of lighting and photography. But I am looking forward to seeing Samson have somewhat of a redemption arc. Even though he did get second, I do see him placing in the top 6 in this first call out, however they want to do it this year. And 2 more athletes, Blessing Owodobu, who actually is a big guy on Instagram, very popular, very funny, and he's also a sponsored Redcon 1 athlete who was actually going to be making his IFBB Pro debut at the South Africa Pro, the Arnold South Africa. He was going to be making his pro debut there, and the show got canceled, obviously. So he's still on prep, and it looks like he has set his sights on the 2020 EUROPA Pro. So obviously, like all the other competitors, I am actually very, very excited. I am very excited to see Blessing Owodobu at this show. I know a lot of people have been putting a lot of hype behind this guy. He's absolutely massive. He's big. He's full. He has very nice lines. He brings good conditioning on Instagram, at least. So hopefully that carries over into his IFBB Pro stage presence at this year's EUROPA Pro. Andre Muzi, who actually I just bumped into him on Instagram, just scrolling through the Spain Pro hashtag, and this guy actually looks amazing. He almost reminds me of a 212 competitor. It just looks big and full, small waist, but then just absolutely huge chest. I definitely expect Andre to do well at this show. I don't think that he's going to have he's not really a big name when it comes to bodybuilding nowadays. So he still is going to be kind of coming up in the ranks, but I definitely expect him to place well at this show. It really is going to have to come down to what he brings in the terms of conditioning. It looks like he has a fair amount of size, but really it's going to have to come down to getting on stage and really seeing what he brings at this year's EUROPA Pro. And that will pretty much do it for this video, guys. A little bit longer, but it seems that you guys enjoy these longer videos. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoy bodybuilding content as much as I do, definitely like and subscribe. We have a lot more content coming. This train is not slowing down at all, as this IFBB Pro season is in full swing. And if you guys want to support me on a personal level, you can always support my sponsor at goldeneranutrition.com, and you can use my sponsored athlete code SANCH15 at checkout. And that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys stopping in and watching the videos. The channel has been really blowing up lately with subscribers and views, and it really is exciting to see the channel growing and all of you new people coming in and watching the videos. And that will do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys and gals in the next one.